What's up, Lakers Nation? Hope everyone's doing great today because there's a lot to talk about and things are heating up around the league once again. You know how it goes. Every time someone even hints at being unhappy with their team, the whole NBA world starts spinning with trade rumors, speculation, and wild theories. And right now, that spotlight is on one man, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah, the Greek freak himself, one of the most dominant players in the game. The kind of guy who can completely change a franchise the moment he steps onto the floor. And, as always, the Lakers somehow end up in that conversation, right? I mean, it's the Lakers. Big names and big rumors are just part of what comes with wearing purple and gold. Now, let's talk about Giannis for a second. All offseason, there were whispers and, at times, full-blown reports saying that Giannis might be looking for the exit door in Milwaukee. Some people swore he was going to demand a trade. Others were saying the Bucks were on borrowed time, that this partnership was nearing its end. But so far, none of that has happened. Giannis is still in Milwaukee, still wearing that green and white, still ready to go to battle with his teammates. But the man himself has made it very clear he's not committing long-term unless the Bucks remain a championship-caliber team. He's been honest about it. He said he loves the city, he loves the fans, but he wants to win. And that's fair, right? He's at the point of his career where rings matter more than anything else. What's interesting, though, is how Milwaukee's been trying to make sure Giannis stays happy. Recently, they brought in his younger brother Alex, adding him to a roster that already includes Thanasis. That's two Antetokounmpo brothers right there, sharing the locker room with him. Nobody out there screaming about nepotism when it comes to Milwaukee. Nobody's talking about wasted roster spots or unfair advantages. Funny, right? Because when LeBron James and the Lakers draft Bronny, suddenly everyone loses their minds. Everyone's got something to say. It's like the word nepotism only applies when LeBron's involved. And that's wild because Bronny actually looks like he might turn into a real NBA player. No one's saying he's a future superstar yet, but he's showing flashes. He's athletic, he understands the game, he's improving fast, and if he keeps that up, in a couple of seasons, he could be a solid rotation player. But again, the outrage only seems to show up when the Lakers do something. When it's another team, everyone stays quiet. Funny how that works. But back to Giannis. Right now, it doesn't look like he's going anywhere mid-season. It just doesn't make sense. Milwaukee's still a strong team, still in the mix in the East, and Giannis knows he holds the power in the long run. If he wants to make a move, next offseason gives him way more leverage. That's when things could get really interesting. By then, he'll be approaching a contract decision, which means if he even hints that he might want out, every front office in the league will start dialing Milwaukee's number. You'd have teams lining up with offers trying to do what Toronto did with Kawhi Leonard or what Cleveland did with Donovan Mitchell. Go all in, take the risk, hope to win a title, and maybe convince the star to stick around afterward. The problem for Milwaukee is that they're in a weird in-between phase. They're good enough that they can't just tear it all down and rebuild, but they're also not young enough to sell hope and development. So if Giannis ever does say he's ready to move on, the Bucks can't just take a pile of draft picks and start over. They need actual players, guys who can keep the team competitive right away. That complicates trade talks because you can't just send him anywhere. You need a team with both assets and a willingness to part with talent. And that brings us right back to the Lakers talk. Now, the Lakers have been connected to Giannis for years. It's like this storyline that never completely goes away. Some people love the idea of him following the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar path, another superstar from Milwaukee who eventually heads to Los Angeles to continue his legacy and chase more rings. Imagine that story coming full circle. And now that the Lakers have Luka on the roster, the thought of pairing those two, Luka and Giannis, is straight up terrifying for the rest of the league. On paper, it's a dream pairing. Luka, one of the best playmakers on the planet, and Giannis, one of the most unstoppable finishers in the game. That pick and roll alone would break defensive schemes across the NBA. Luka would love having an athletic freak like Giannis rolling to the rim, and Giannis would finally have a teammate who can consistently create high-quality looks for him. They'd cover for each other's weaknesses too. Giannis can protect the rim and guard multiple positions, while Luka takes charge of the offense and controls the pace. It's the kind of combination that could define a whole era of basketball. Now, as tempting as that sounds, let's be real. Getting Giannis this season is almost impossible. The Lakers just don't have a trade pieces right now. Milwaukee isn't giving up their superstar for role players and a few future picks. It doesn't matter how creative the front office gets. That's not going to cut it. But next offseason, that's a completely different story. The Lakers' situation changes dramatically then. They'll have 3 first-round picks they can move and 3 pick swaps available by the summer of 2026. That gives them real flexibility. They could package those picks with young talents like Austin Reeves, Jalen Hood-Schifino, or whoever steps up during the season. Maybe even a sign-and trade if the numbers work. Suddenly, that's not a laughable offer. That's a real trade package that could make Milwaukee listen. And look, Austin Reeves might not be a franchise cornerstone like Giannis, but he's become a solid player, improving every year, and he fits that mold of a young, skilled, versatile guard every team wants. Add a couple of young prospects, some picks, and salary fillers, and you've got something to at least get the Bucks to the negotiation table. The key question, though, is what Giannis wants. Because if he makes it clear he only wants to go to 1 or 2 teams, that changes everything. It limits the market. It forces Milwaukee's hand. And that's when the Lakers can swoop in. If he truly wants to move to a big market, because that's what all the reports keep saying, it's probably between New York and Los Angeles. The Knicks have been mentioned as his preferred destination recently, mostly because they've got the assets right now. They could throw together a huge offer built around guys like Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, or even Mikal Bridges if they decide to get aggressive. But the Lakers, on the other hand, will be sitting patiently, knowing their best shot comes later. If Giannis is serious about going to a bigger market and he's willing to wait just a bit, the Lakers could easily become the favorite. It just depends on timing. That's the part people overlook. Sometimes, landing a superstar isn't just about what you can offer, it's about when you can offer it. Timing is everything. And next summer, the Lakers will finally have both the assets and the financial space to make something happen. They'll be able to structure deals, include young players, move picks, and even take on salary if needed to make a trade work. Milwaukee would have to consider that, especially if Giannis starts applying pressure. Because no team wants to risk losing a player of that caliber for nothing. The Bucks have seen this movie before. They know how quickly things can change in the NBA. One moment you're competing for a title, the next you're rebuilding from scratch. And that's why the Lakers are staying alert. They're not forcing anything right now, but they're keeping their options open, staying flexible, keeping the roster filled with movable contracts and players who have value around the league. Because when that moment comes, when the right star becomes available, they want to be ready. And if that star is Giannis, the Lakers will do everything they can to make that happen. Just imagine that trio, Luka, Giannis, and LeBron passing the torch while still contributing at a high level. The energy, the speed, the athleticism, it would be a nightmare for every defense in the league. And look, it's not just about big names. It's about legacy. It's about building a team that can bring championships back to Los Angeles for years to come. Giannis has that mindset. He's all about work, all about winning, all about competing at the highest level. That's what the Lakers organization lives for too. It's not about short-term hype. It's about banners. It's about rings. It's about moments that last forever. And if next offseason really opens that door, you can bet the Lakers front office will be the first ones trying to walk through it. Now, let's dig deeper into how this whole situation could actually play out, because this is where things start to get really interesting. Imagine we reach the middle of next season and the Bucks are doing fine, maybe sitting in the top 4 of the East, but not dominating like they used to. Giannis is still putting up monster numbers, but there's this quiet tension in the background, that feeling that something's coming. Maybe the team doesn't look like a true contender. Maybe the chemistry isn't right. Maybe that hunger that won them the championship a few years ago just isn't there anymore. That's the kind of situation that forces stars to start thinking long-term. And when a player like Giannis begins thinking about his legacy, the possibility of a move becomes very real. If Milwaukee senses that he's not fully committed beyond the next season, they can't afford to play the waiting game. They would have to explore options, even if it's just quietly behind the scenes. And that's where teams like the Knicks and Lakers start circling. The Knicks, for all their assets, have one thing that can both help and hurt them: pressure. New York is desperate to be relevant again. They've been trying to bring in that superstar for years. They have pieces, they have picks, they have the market, but sometimes desperation leads to overpaying. If they throw everything they've got at Milwaukee, they might land Giannis, sure, but at what cost? They could end up gutting their roster and surrounding him with too little to actually compete. We've seen that happen plenty of times before. The Lakers, on the other hand, would approach this differently. Their strength is not just in assets, but in organization and stability. Players trust that when they go to Los Angeles, the franchise knows how to build around them. The spotlight is bright, but the history speaks for itself. When LeBron eventually decides to pass the torch, the Lakers need someone who can carry that weight, who can handle both the pressure and the glory that come with being the face of the franchise. Giannis fits that mold perfectly. He's humble, he's intense, and he has that relentless drive that fans respect. Pair that with Luka, and suddenly the Lakers aren't just building for 1 or 2 more years, they're building for a decade. If we're talking specifics, the Lakers trade package next offseason could be one of the most flexible in the league. They'd have 3 first-round picks, 3 pick swaps, several promising young players, and enough salary pieces to make the math work. And unlike this season, when their hands are tied because of the Stepien rule and recent trades, next year the front office can really get creative. They could move a combination of Austin Reeves, Jalen Hood-Schifino, Dalton Knecht, and even Rui Hachimura, depending on how those players perform this season. That's a lot of different combinations they could put together to appeal to Milwaukee or to facilitate a 3-team deal. Because let's be real, any move for a player like Giannis is going to be massive and probably involve multiple teams. You're not just trading a superstar, you're shifting the balance of the league. But the biggest factor in all of this is still Giannis himself. He holds the cards. If he decides he wants New York, then that's probably where he'll go. But if he tells Milwaukee that Los Angeles is his preferred destination and he's not signing long-term anywhere else, that changes the game completely. At that point, the Bucks lose leverage with other teams. No franchise wants to give up half its assets for a player who might walk away after a year. That's when the Lakers become the most realistic landing spot. They wouldn't have to outbid the whole league. They just have to make a deal that's fair and allows Milwaukee to save face while starting a new chapter. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, in what could be one of the most shocking moves in recent NBA history, whispers around the league are hinting at a blockbuster shift that could shake up the Western Conference to its core. Sources close to team insiders are suggesting that Giannis Antetokounmpo, the reigning superstar of the Milwaukee Bucks, may be on the verge of packing his bags and heading to Los Angeles. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the buzz is already sending shockwaves through social media and sports talk shows alike. The potential landing spot? The Los Angeles Lakers. The very thought of Giannis donning the purple and gold has NBA fans speculating about a new era of dominance in Los Angeles. Imagine a Lakers lineup featuring LeBron James alongside the 2-time MVP. Rumors suggest that negotiations have been intense but productive, with both sides eager to explore what could be a transformative deal for the franchise. If true, this would mark one of the most significant free agent signings in decades, and it would instantly reposition the Lakers as a favorite for the championship in the coming seasons. While the Bucks have been known for building around Giannis and offering him a strong core, sources indicate that the Greek Freak might be seeking a fresh challenge, something that could reinvigorate his career and provide him with the spotlight of a major media market. Lakers fans are reportedly ecstatic at the possibility, already envisioning highlight reels and playoff runs featuring one of the most versatile players in the league. On the flip side, Bucks supporters are holding their breath, hoping the team can retain their superstar or at least secure a package that justifies such a seismic shift. Executives, agents, and insiders are staying tight-lipped, fueling the frenzy. The rumor mill is running at full speed, with every tweet and cryptic post being analyzed for hidden clues. While the NBA world waits for official confirmation, speculation alone is enough to dominate headlines. Should this deal come to fruition, it will not only redefine the Lakers, but could also alter the balance of power across the league, making every game a must-watch event. For now, Fans are left to debate, dream, and dissect every possible outcome as the NBA rumor mill churns out what might be the most talked about story of the year. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.